This will give them enough to say, look, see, he apologizes. He takes accountability for his actions.
To defend myself against wild accusations. But what? I also came back because I want to apologize for things that I genuinely got wrong. For example,
we're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents, and I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys how beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people, or just, it's a beautiful place. It is. It's one of the most diverse places I've ever been.
Looking back, I definitely feel ashamed for the way I spoke about Israel with such levity at the time that a genocide was happening. I completely understand why people...
That's cool. That's a good first step, I think. That's a good first step. It's just, if only that was the only reason why people were like, hey, man, I think you might be defending Israel a little too hard, you know? Like, because remember, it's not just people like myself that he just like actively went after. There's so much more that Ethan Klein has done, but I'll take it. I'll take this first apology. I think it's good. It more so just represents the tide shift that is finally even hitting him in the face. You know what I mean? For the longest time, he just refused to recognize what was going on, and the walls kept closing in. Yes, as Omer Al-Akkad said, one day we will all have been against this. One day. And it's getting there right now. There's part of the reason why I didn't, take too much offense over the context nuke that Ethan Klein put together at the time that he thought was going to be the end of my career. How foolish, how stupid. It was because he's not a believer in anything, really. Well, I guess maybe the state of Israel. But outside of that, he's not a believer in anything beyond, I guess, whatever suits his fancy, whatever hurts his narcissistic feelings. So narcissistic that he can make an ongoing genocide all about himself and his own personal feelings. Having said that, the reason why I didn't give a shit too much is because time will pass. And I knew that eventually people would recognize right from wrong. More and more people would start recognizing exactly what was taking place. And when they did, I fear that they would look back at that compilation, perhaps with very different eyes. Very, very different eyes. The context nuke that he shamefully copyrighted with the intent to sue every single one of his detractors that watched it. He would have sued you too had you not reacted to just a part for it for over 10 hours. Yeah. To this day, so much of the dumb nonsense that I see online from people who think like, oh, I'm pro-Palestine too. I'm just pro-Palestine in not this direction, but some other unforeseeable direction. No matter where I go, when I see these comments like, Hasan, isn't that guy like, doesn't he glaze from some of the dumbest right-wingers of all time? And even some dumb liberals who don't know any better. It all stems back to the same deplatforming initiatives that ultimately failed, conducted by Pestany, who ruined his own career once again, and also his partner in crime, Ethan Klein, who not only was aligning himself and utilizing Pestany's own clips out of context compilations, something that even Barry Weiss has done for the Free Press, by the way, and now she will be in charge of CBS. Shouts out to the Ellison family for that wonderful new voice, an underrepresented voice in mainstream news. Not only did he use those clips out of context to drive home an incredibly racist narrative over and over again, really leaning into those Islamophobic sentiments, weaponizing it like it was nothing, on the wrong side of a goddamn genocide, but also even went as far as to directly, materially align with Destiny's partner, his podcast co-host, Dan Saltman, a 60-year-old psychopath who also, just like Ethan Klein, tried to actively not only deplatform me and many other critics of Israel, but also went so far as to initiate a adpocalypse, to try to initiate an adpocalypse against an entire platform of content creators on Twitch. How insane. They went so far as to work with Israel's own attack dog, Richie Torres. Dan Stalkman even went and talked to numerous Republicans in his advocacy to try to pull me in front of Congress. He celebrated it. And now those very same fascists that he aligned himself with in an effort to try and get me deplatformed are working to get his best friend and podcast co-host, Pestany, also deplatformed. How do you deal with that? So yeah, it's a good start to apologize for saying that you were going to go to the multifaceted, multicultural Israel amidst the genocide and refuse to understand what my criticisms were on that front. I know for many out-of-touch fans of Ethan Klein who don't care about anything but whatever Ethan Klein says and does, this hopefully will give them a little bit of comfort to be able to defend him in broad daylight. You know, this will give them enough to say, look, see, he apologizes. He takes accountability for his actions. His opponents, on the other hand, they never do. Well, sometimes there's no reason to apologize if you've done nothing wrong. But I welcome them to the pro-Palestinian cause after spending all of the past 2 years working to deplatform critics of Israel. Fantastic.
People could watch this clip and judge me harshly for it. I want to apologize to anyone in the Palestinian diaspora or anybody that's been affected by this war that felt that I was trivial.
Watch you for the news for so long, you successfully gaslit me into thinking this guy even matters at all. I mean, he's utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, but the harm that he committed to critics of Israel is serious. I mean, he got numerous people deplatformed, numerous people banned for 30 days over a Sabra hummus joke, dude. Also, he shouldn't be just apologizing. I don't know who the he's apologizing to, the Palestinian diaspora. He should be apologizing, which he can't, to Palestinians as a whole.
Realizing the suffering, the horror that you've gone through. And for that, I deeply am sorry, and I'm ashamed of this clip. I came back to TikTok.
Wild accusations, except admitting that at least like one component of it was not so wild, I guess. In any case, I think a lot of people are recognizing that there's just no defense of Israel. There's just no defense of Israel whatsoever. But that won't stop them from attacking Israel's critics. How much of this is just the acquisition of media entities by Israel-friendly corporations, thus it incentivizes having a better image for future business? I'm a firm believer that no matter how much you try to manipulate the public by purchasing CBS and shit, ultimately people are still going to be looking for the truth. Cat's out of the bag, toothpaste out of the tube, as I like to say. So all you'll be doing is cooking these media properties further when they just remove the last shred of credibility that they may have had. It's so crazy for me that it's just like all of this could have been avoided if he just listened to his friend at the time when his podcast co-host had his best interest in mind and was trying to be like, listen, dude, here's why you're coming across like you're defending Israel. You need to dial it back. People have no capacity to understand what's in your heart and in your mind. They only have a capacity to hear what you're saying. And what you're saying seems a whole lot like you're defending Israel. Drop the lawsuits, Ethan. Drop the lawsuits. You know they're frivolous. You know it has nothing to do with copyright or anything like that. You'll win a lot more good favor if you were to do that. I know you think that the people that you're attacking are unfavorable by the new audience that you have cultivated, but it's a good gesture. I'm sure he's not actually going to lay off regardless. He just seems like a petty tyrant himself, just so thin-skinned, so narcissistic. He feels like when people have wronged him in his mind, he just never stops. It's clear to me. The reason why I say that is because he didn't stop even when his own fans were like, dude, just shut the up about this. Like, okay, we got it. We hate Hasan. He sucks. You know? And he was like, nope, not going to stop. He has to have enemies all the time. And I guess in the past, it seemed like he chose his enemies well. No real moral consistency here whatsoever. That's it. So much harm has been caused in this process. But, you know, again, I only care about this as far as it is taking up space from much more important things that we could be talking about. Just add it onto the pile, you know? So frustrating. Anyway,